Okay, it looks like I'm live. Welcome. My name is Mary Mays. I'm a meteorologist with weather and radar, and I'm pretty sure I'm live. Let me double check. Yes, I am. I am streaming, and I just double checked to make sure that I have audio because there's been a couple times where I come on here and you can't hear a thing. So that's always fun, right? So what I'm talking about today is going to be this Pineapple Express, and I've got a couple more seconds before this officially starts. So if you have any questions, now is a good time to go ahead and put them in the chat. That way I will be sure to answer them. I'm keeping an eye on this as we talk about what's ahead for the rest of today. And so it's currently 2 o'clock Central Time, which is where I'm at, noon for the West Coast, and 3 p.m. for Eastern, and 1 p.m. for Mountain Time. Anyway, so I just wanted to jump in here and say welcome. And this is the system we're talking about today. And for those of you just joining in, and I see there's a few people just now starting to enter into this live. My name is Mary Mays. I'm a meteorologist for weather and radar, and our focus for much of the week has been this system that's currently impacting the West Coast. And I have been writing forecast updates on this all week long because I knew that this was going to be a pretty big deal. And then we have another system that moves in for the second half of this weekend that's also going to be a big deal. And we're going to talk about that. But first, we want to talk about this current atmospheric river. And you hear the term Pineapple Express. Why is it called the Pineapple Express? Well, you see Hawaii right here. If you kind of go back in time, which you can do with our weather radar, how cool is that? You can basically see the origins of this moisture coming out of the tropics originated from Hawaii. So, or right about Hawaii. And that's why they call it the Pineapple Express, because, Hawaii has a lot of pineapples. So, kind of a silly name for something that can sometimes be a really serious situation. We've had a lot of moisture. We've had heavy snow in the Sierra, and then we've had quite a lot of rain in Northern California and Oregon yesterday. And today, most of the rain has been here between, Los Angeles and San Diego right now near Tijuana. But we've had, this rain kind of more in Southern California today. And we've seen a lot. We've had some flooding around Long Beach. Huntington Beach is closed right now. You can see here, this is a live camera view of what it looks like. We've had some big waves. It's just been kind of a mess. And a lot of times, too, when you have these atmospheric rivers, you get really gusty winds and big waves. And a lot of times that leads to coastal flooding, which is, flooding coming in along those big waves. And you get all the wind pushes in some big waves. And you surfs up, but not really, because you don't want to be out in that kind of environment. But you get big waves, you get coastal flooding, and then on top of that, you have the rain coming in, and that can overwhelm your storm drains. So we've seen street flooding in Southern California, and the LA metro. This happens quite often. Pretty much, I feel like every time we have a pretty impressive atmospheric river, you get some street flooding. And it's just because of infrastructure a lot of times, but a lot of times too, it's just, where is this water going? There's a ton of it. And that's often the case, especially along the coast, especially in burn scar regions. If you've had burning in a spot, the soil just doesn't really absorb that water, and it just flows off. So that's why you also have landslides. So these have all been issues today in Southern California. Yesterday, this was more Northern California issue. And we've also had some really gusty winds with this system. So we are also seeing quite a bit of snow in the Sierra. And we actually have Jonathan Petramala in Truckee, California. So he's going to near Lake Tahoe, near Donner Pass, which pretty much always seems to close when you get this, or at least have some big issues when you have these big snowfall. We're talking feet of snow this week in the mountains, I think up to 4 feet above 7,000 feet. So that's peak level, not quite past level. At past level, probably about a foot or so. That's a ton of snow, and California especially really needs it. We're in a snow drought. What does that mean? You're going, oh, what do you mean there's a drought? There's not an actual drought, but there is a snow drought. So reservoirs are in good shape. Snowpack is not. So the snowpack 8.3 inches snow water equivalent. And this is kind of where we like to be. That's our historic peak, 26.4 by the end of March. So we're about 31% of average peak. And you look here, this is, I think, a better view. So this is year-to-date precip percent of average. So this is where, if you're in the green, that means you're at about 100% of where you typically would be this time of year. So things have been looking really good along the coast and the valleys. The mountains, however, only seeing about 20 to 40% of what they typically would in terms of that snowfall. So we are in a snowpack drought because the snowpack is not as high as it usually would be. And with these streams of moisture moving in, we talk a lot about the snowpack because that's actually what feeds the reservoirs through the rest of the year. As the snow melts in the spring and summer, it fills up the reservoirs or keeps them full. So that's why the snowpack is so important. Why, the snow falling in the Sierra is such a good thing. It is making it very difficult to get along some passes. You need chains. If you're even able to get up through them, a lot of them are going to be closed through the remainder of today. But that's what we're looking at, and that's where Jonathan Petramala is. He's keeping an eye on the snow, so make sure you tune into our social media here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X. I always want to call it Twitter. But we will keep you updated with his updates. So you got the heavy snow currently still falling into the rest of, today. So here we go. This is into the afternoon, into the evening hours, still seeing that moisture in the lower elevations, the rain, and then just, the heavy snowfall into tomorrow. Now things get really interesting too. You see that through the Rockies. We've got quite a bit of snow into the southwest. And then you start to see some thunderstorms breaking out in Texas. So there's kind of an interesting thing that happens as this atmospheric river moves out. It moves in more to the Intermountain West, into the central and southern plains. You guys are going to feel some impacts. You're going to get some heavy snow up in the higher elevations of the Rockies. So this is great news for ski resorts, right? You got the snow, you got the rain. We do have the chance for a few strong thunderstorms tomorrow. And that's a slight risk there in southern Texas, mainly into San Antonio. That's going to be the biggest population center impacted. It's a slight risk. It's a level 2 out of 5. But, not only could we see some wind and some hail, we could see a tornado. An isolated tornado is going to be possible. So if you're in Texas tomorrow, and, even into portions of western Oklahoma, make sure you're paying attention because there is that severe weather threat as our atmospheric river pushes off to the east. But right now, our main focus is the heavy snow happening in the Sierras and this heavy rain, and also some snow in the southern ranges too. We haven't forgotten about you in Southern California and the mountain ranges, but the heavy rain already causing all kinds of issues. We've got coastal flooding, we've got Huntington Beach closed, flooding in Long Beach. A lot of this is kind of, urban flooding, but there's also that potential for landslides. Now, last I checked, I did look at power outages, and I do like to look at this, and this has increased. So we are now at 10,000 customers without power in California, and I'm going to guess it's mainly, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara's got 34, Ventura, let's see where the most of this is. A lot of this is in kind of central and northern California still. So kind of scattered here and there, but you're starting to see an increase in power outages. So it looks like Pacific Gas and Electric Company has 7,500 without power. So we're starting to see a slight increase in power outages. And not only is that due to, the rain, it's also due to wind. We've been quite gusty today. These are our current wind gusts, 40 miles an hour in San Diego. Notice you go to these mountaintops and gosh, is it gusting quite a bit higher. Got 20-mile-an-hour gusts in Palm Springs. That's not too bad. But you look at this, we do have some pretty gusty winds in that 40 to 50 mile per hour range. Could see some higher gusts at the peak level. For the mountains, you could gust up to about 50, 65 miles an hour. But it looks like the wind is starting to die down. And really, this part of the event is starting to kind of wind down a little bit. You still have that rain in California and the heavy snow in the Sierra Nevadas, and then you see the heavy snow pushing into, you know, the Intermountain West, into the Rockies. But this is just one piece of the equation. So we've already picked up, you know, through the end of today, we're probably looking at 1 to 3 inches widespread rain across much of California in the valleys, lower elevations. Some folks 5-6 inches if you're on the higher end of these totals. And then we're looking at feet of snow in the Sierra Nevada before this is all over with. So that's going to be, you know, 1, 2, 3 feet, and then you go to 7,000 feet, and you've got 3-4 feet of snow, which is good. We need the snowpack. However, this is not it. This is not the only system we're tracking. We have another atmospheric river that moves in for the weekend. So this is a 1-2 punch, and we will get a little bit of a break tomorrow and Saturday. So let's walk you through here with our future tracker. By tomorrow afternoon, things are drying out along the coast. You still got some rain pushing in here. It looks like Pacific Northwest going to get a little bit of that. But Saturday, it's, you know, it's not as crazy. You're getting a break here on Saturday. It's not, you know, completely dry. You look at a little bit of rain there in Seattle, some snow in portions of the Cascades, but for the most part, not that big of a deal. And then we get this next atmospheric river moving in by Sunday. Yeah, look at that. Oh, goodness here. So I'm going to rewind. This is Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. That is just a fire hose of a system. And look how deep that pink is. Look how deep the blue is. And that is indicating really heavy rain and really heavy snow on top of what we've already seen. So through early next week, through next Monday, some folks could have seen with these two systems up to a foot of rain. Yeah, rain. And feet of snow. I don't even want to think about how much snow we're going to have in the Sierras. But it's good for the snowpack. We need it because we are below average, as I showed you just a little bit ago. But the rain still causing those big issues with flooding. If you're in a flood-prone area, you know, you get a couple of days. But Sunday, we're doing it all over again. So this is a 1-2 punch of atmospheric rivers, and this is really kind of what we expect for an El Nino year in terms of, you know, heavy rain, heavy snow. It's been kind of quiet and maybe not as active as it could have been or we were expecting, but now it really has just been kind of increasing in terms of severity. And I think this next round that happens Sunday into Monday of this coming week is going to be potentially more impactful than what we're seeing with this current round that's, you know, still going. This is what it looks like right now. This is what we see as we head into the rest of today, into tomorrow. But you can see that heaviest, you know, rain and snow, really rain starts to move out. You still get, you know, quite a bit of lingering snow in the Sierra. But by Friday, things are looking a little bit better, and they are definitely looking a lot better by Saturday. But it's that system that just kind of slams in Sunday that's bringing even more action to the Golden State, California. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Once again, this is kind of, you know, a situation where you have to pay attention to these multiple atmospheric rivers because a lot of times they do kind of slam into the state one after another. So we're getting two in relatively close proximity. So when this moves in Sunday, you know, that break we have for part of Friday into Saturday is not going to be enough to really dry things out. You're still going to have saturated soils. You're still going to have, you know, areas that are going to be prone to landslides, flash flooding, and good luck traveling in the mountains because I think at times it's probably going to be impossible, especially as we see more snow in the forecast as we head into Sunday. So once again, we do need the snowpack to get a little bit higher. You know, the interior of the state is really about 20 to 40% of what you would typically see in terms of precipitation to date. So we do have a little bit of what we call a snow drought. Now the coast is looking good for rain. You've had plenty of moisture. There's more on the way. That's one of the reasons why we're dealing with flooding, but we do have that snowpack issue. And you will probably see this map again. So, you know, if you go on to the weather and radar homepage, which we can do right now, and you click on this updated article right here, you see this excessive rain risk for today. And you can see, Los Angeles down through San Diego. That's where we were expecting to see this risk of flash flooding, and that's where it's been happening. So this is pretty standard. So that's what it looks like for today, but you go through tomorrow, okay, we're good. You go through Saturday, you're starting to see a little bit of rain return. Sunday, they just added a moderate risk for the Los Angeles area. So it's level 3 out of 5, which means we're probably looking at a pretty significant flood threat for Sunday into Monday. So I'm not surprised that this has been updated. This is really recent, within the last few minutes, but we're already starting to see those indications of that really heavy rain and of course that heavy mountain snow. And I would be watching things carefully if I was in Southern California. The forecast for Sunday could be pretty intense. And then, oh goodness, into Monday, we also have that moderate risk again for Southern California, parts of Southern California, even into the LA metro. And we got a slight risk that extends just south of the Bay Area. So Sunday into Monday are going to be 2 days to watch very, very carefully. And I'm keeping an eye on things to see if we have any more questions or anything like that. But this is going to be the best way to keep up with what's happening. You want to come to Weather and Radar. If you don't have the app downloaded, it's very easy. Just type in Weather and Radar into the App Store, Google Play Store. It's going to pop up. And if you aren't able to find it, the other little tip is just to go to weatherandradar.com, hit the apps, and this will take you right there. If you just hit download, it'll open the link in your App Store or Google Play Store, so you can get it that way as well. Just go into the browser on your phone. But you want to keep up with these articles because, first of all, we are going to continue to give you the latest information. And you also want to make sure that you have your alerts turned on. And when you're in the Weather and Radar app, just know that you have access to this. You can look at the last 24 hours. You can look at what's happening right now. You can look at what's happening tomorrow or today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. So you get 4 days of high quality data. And not only do you get this, what we call the weather radar, where you get the temperatures, you get snow, you get rain, you get wintry mix in salmon, which you're not seeing right now. Let's see if there's anything going on the East Coast, actually. Oh, it's all snow for the Northeast, by the way. I was hoping to have a little bit of that pretty salmon color, which indicates freezing rain usually. You also have rain radar if you just want to see, precipitation on this gray background. This is really handy for folks who are just kind of trying to get an idea of what's going on across the country. You get temperature radar. This shows you what it's like for everyone. Quite warm in the southern plains right now. And we've got really warm conditions actually up toward the northern tier. You don't usually see 58 this time of day in Billings this time of year. You get the wind radar. This is great for seeing those gusts. And trust me, they are going to be cranking up Sunday as that next atmospheric river moves in. But you can also see what the wind is doing right now. And you have the lightning radar, which is pretty cool as well. And this is great for in the summertime. If you want to see how close you are to lightning, you can do so. And, this can also access your location, which I am not going to hit because y'all don't need to know exactly where I live. But this is, everything you need to get your forecast on the go. And we run this ourselves. We have our own weather alerts to keep you updated, but also if something big's happening in your neck of the woods, an actual meteorologist, either me or one of my teammates, we send you alerts straight to your phone telling you what's going on. And how many weather apps do that? Not that many. I can't think of any other than us. So there's a lot of great features with our app if you haven't downloaded it yet. But I wanted to give you guys an update, show you our products, and I hope that you are staying safe and that you are paying attention. And just a reminder, if you're on the West Coast, we're doing this again Sunday into Monday. Now, we're going to have more updates throughout the day from Jonathan Petramala as he continues to show us that incredible snow in the Sierra. And of course, we're going to bring you more news and video about the flooding happening right now in Southern California. So please take care. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I do hope you download that app, and we'll continue with this coverage.